beautiful creators. And I say that because we are creators. We women are creators. We humans are creators. Within us are individual gifts and treats and wonders and so much more. If only we realized who and what we really are. Hello, fellow goddesses. This is Tonya Taria from Freedom at the Crossroads, helping women everywhere look better, feel better without the pressure of O.P.E, other people's expectations. Help me out today. How many of you struggle with trying to, shift such things as mindsets? I know I've talked about mindsets in relation to, or rather within the context of self-care. And I talk about it so much because it is so serious and so impactful, because it is the driving force behind action and execution. And if you really want to get off that hamster wheel going nowhere, giving from a place of emptiness, always seeking validation outside of yourself, looking for approval and permission from other people, other things, our social, cultural groups and things of that nature, family, friends, whoever you feel you need to get permission from in order to live your life, in order to reclaim your power, your personhood. There's only one pathway to that. And in order to get there, you have to, first of all, I say these three things all the time, and it's so true. You have to make a decision. You've got to get a plan. And my sisters, you've got to take action. 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 Because without those things, you cannot execute, you cannot manifest the level of self-empowerment, freedom, and autonomy that you're seeking in all areas of your life without these things, without, first of all, recognizing that you're on a hamster wheel going nowhere, and then making the decision to change your direction, to change your state. And it's so empowering, but it's also scary because it requires that you let go of the status quo and move into something new, something that's never been, how do I say it, that's never been taken, a path not taken, and so that's so scary for some women. And it's the reason why it's so scary is because you're hesitating. You're hesitating to make that decision. You're hesitating to let go, even though what you are in a place that's not good, even though you are on the hamster wheel going nowhere. And that's something and so you keep falling back on that. But then you're miserable, you're overworked, you're overstressed, you're tired. You feel like you're being pulled in a million different directions, that superwoman complex, and you're just screaming and crying on the inside, and all the gifts, all the talents, all the things that make you who you are, you're bound. And you don't want to be. And when you recognize that you're in that state, that's why I always harken back to the Matrix movies. I love the Matrix with Neo. I wish it had been done with a woman. But anyway, I go back to that because Neo had to make a decision. Once he took the red pill, that was awakening. But he could have opted for the blue pill, which would have put him back into the status quo, where he would have been back on that hamster wheel going nowhere, never achieving his dreams, never achieving autonomy and the level of greatness and creativity and empowerment that he was destined for if he had taken the blue pill and gone back to sleep. And many of us as women, we opt for that route because we're, for several reasons. Some is we're fearful of losing, in a lot of instances, fearful of losing what the little we think we do have, for something that is not guaranteed. Failing to realize that nothing on this plane of existence is guaranteed. The only guaranteed thing on this plane of existence is change. And once we awaken to that fact, we begin to crave our own power back. We begin to crave our own self, recapturing, reclaiming those pieces of ourselves that we have given away, those pearls we've cast before the swine. Oh my goodness, my sisters, so much we carry within us, so much we are imbued with. And, all of this is against the context of self-care. Why self-care? Because I recognize that shifting mindsets, shifting in making those internal adjustments and growth movements is, in a lot of instances, is hard to conceptualize mentally. But when you activate it on the physical plane through self-care, you begin to make those bring the mental and the physical into alignment, and you begin to see the beauty of that power activating in your life, and you begin to see reclaiming those things. You begin to reclaim ownership of your body by getting healthier, setting boundaries, learning how to say no, and standing by your decisions. That's power. And once you begin to make those mental calculations that are activated through the power of movement, the power of self, taking action. And that's why it's so important that, my sisters, we recognize that self-care is activism. Self-care is healthcare. Self-care is reclaiming of who you are. Self-care is empowerment. Once you realize and activate that, you gain momentum. And as you gain momentum, you become a whirlwind. You begin to reclaim your power. And oh my gosh, it is such a powerful and beautiful thing to behold. And then it's time to begin to unpack those gifts, those things that you brought to this plane of existence, those things that make you uniquely you. And this is my passion. This is my goal in life, really, is to activate my sisters on this plane of existence for us all to move forward, to regroup, reclaim our power, to become true activists in our own spheres of influence. There's nothing more beautiful, more powerful than humanity activated and expressing the beauty that we all carry within. And for too long, women have been suppressed, oppressed, conditioned, and domesticated by the environment and society in which we live. And as a result, humanity overall, all over this planet, has suffered. And as women all over the world are beginning to give voice and breaking the shackles of domestication and conditioning, you see it spurting up like many volcanoes all over the world. And yes, there's a lot of pullback. You see that in the elevated levels and reports of violence against women, the unveiling of misogynistic structures in our various societies across the globe. Some places more than others, and when I speak of that, I'm speaking to areas in the Southeast Asia, Middle East, Africa, but even in the West, that is becoming even more vocalized through sexist and demeaning portrayal of women who have power in our various political structures and things of that nature. So it's a battle, but it's one I welcome and one that I believe is necessary. We all have to stand up for something or go with anything. And if we are truly to live empowered, live who we are called to be those forces for good and empowerment and progress and life and love and beauty in this world, making it a better place for all of us, we must become activated. We must embrace who we are. We must reclaim our power, our autonomy, our self. And that starts on the plane of self-care as it expands throughout all areas of our lives, and it makes the necessary mental connections that help to explode the realities of our state and the journey we all need to embark upon individually and collectively. And, just segueing off of that, I chose this format for this podcast because I've seen so many podcasts out there, so many, individuals out there who take the format of constantly, interviewing people and things of that nature and having pseudo-serious discussions, or interview formatted discussions that to me do nothing for you. And I decided against that. And I've taken this program in a new direction where I'm literally speaking to you and asking you to open your eyes. And let's have a conversation between us, my sisters. I'm available on Spotify and iTunes at Freedom at the Crossroads. And it's Freedom at the Crossroads for a reason, because on all of us, we're at a crossroads in our lives. Young, old, whatever you want to call yourself at your current stage. But one thing we all have in common as a sisterhood is that we're all creators. We're all creative forces, and we have all been bound and domesticated and conditioned at some point in our lives. Some of us are still struggling to break through that, and that's why I felt it was necessary to create a space that is uniquely ours, that is only for our sisterhoods, goddesses arising and awakening. And moving forward, we will become huntresses. It's time to not just awaken the goddess within, but to become and embrace the huntress. And I say huntress because that, in my mind, evokes power. It evokes that awakened force that is now pursuing and actively reclaiming her power and autonomy of self, and stepping in and being comfortable with who you are and who you are called to be and who you are uniquely as a unique being who is autonomous, who is precious, who is powerful. And I need us all. My fervent desire is for us all to open our eyes and awaken to the state that we're in and be motivated to transform and execute the life that we want, and to take a different path in the crossroads of our lives, to make the necessary decisions and to move forward. Take action, execute on those decisions. So this is Tony at Freedom at the Crossroads, helping women everywhere look better, feel better without the pressure of O.P.E. Break forth, beautiful creators. Break forth and break the chains of domestication and conditioning, and let the huntress emerge within you. This is 28 from Freedom at the Crossroads, signing off.